Before coming to Full Sail, I had taken a public speaking class in high school. I was always very nervous getting up speaking in front of my classmates. I have never felt that comfortable communicating anything to anyone, as I often mess up on what I'm going to say. I get very nervous when I have to explain things to people, especially when I realize I'm doing a terrible job at it. I have been in 2 high school productions. I was the lead in my senior year and did very well at that. I am much better at rehearsing someone else's words than my own. I believe I utilize pathos more in my speeches, as I tend to be a more emotional person. I don't believe I ever used ethos, as I don't like bringing ethics into things too much, and logos probably more in my persuasion speech. My eye contact was alright. I do have trouble looking at people when I'm talking, just for fear of how I see them reacting to my speech. This is something I will continue to work on. Persuasive speech, I didn't do very good at panning and scanning the room. I mainly stuck to one side and stayed there. My projection, my volume, and my gestures I feel were very good though. For my industry professional speech, I was more focused on my outline than I was looking at the audience. I was very nervous for all the presentations. I don't like the feeling of being judged, and I start to doubt myself, thinking that everything I have researched is completely and utterly wrong. From what I noticed, the audience seemed engaged enough. I think they were more attentive during my persuasive speech, as it was something that they could relate to. I mostly just looked at the slides when I needed a reference point of where I was in the speech, or that I hadn't gone too far, or I was lacking way behind. In a way, it was a lot easier to remember my speech with slides up on the wall. I felt I utilized my time very well when it came to researching my topics. It was just actually speaking about them that was the problem. For my introductory speech, I really didn't rehearse what I was going to say at all. I figured I would just figure it out as the moment went on, which always seems to be my problem, but on the flip side, even when I do rehearse what I'm going to say, I end up not saying that. And anyway, I always come up with something completely different. I practiced more for my industry professional speech, only just because that was the speech that I really got excited for and really wanted to do well on. I was fortunate enough not to have any technical errors during any of my speeches. I really enjoyed the industry professional speech. I really had a lot of fun researching my topic and getting to use video clips in my slideshow. I'd have to say my persuasion speech, only because there were so many angles I could have taken, and it seemed like there was a lot of information that needed to be said that would have taken up way more than 5 minutes. Definitely organizing my thoughts. Being able to focus. One thing that I have concluded from watching my fellow peers with their speeches is that sometimes it really doesn't matter how much you rehearse or how much research you did. You need to believe in your speech and be confident that you can deliver the speech. I know that a couple people that I've talked to were really nervous about their speeches and doing well, and they didn't seem that confident in their topics or anything like that, and it really showed when they got up and presented. It was easy to manage my time for the persuasion speech only because it was a timed slideshow, so it was pretty easy to figure out when I needed to start wrapping up. As far as the industry professional speech, I just played it by ear. I didn't know how long the speech was going to be, and I did my best to keep it under the 5 minutes. Honestly, a 2.5 after both. After both speeches, I felt terrible about them, and I almost embarrassed and just really glad it was over and that I didn't have to go up again that day. When I saw my grade, I honestly didn't expect as good of a grade as I got. It always surprised me. I feel like I have learned a lot about public speaking and I know how to construct a speech. It just comes down to me. As far as speaking goes, I just need to work on my self-confidence.